So Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree was just announced a few days ago for UFC 307, and it's pretty wild that this fight is being booked because the thing is, Rountree isn't ranked high enough as he was sitting around the number 8, and his last big win was against an old, out of prime Anthony Smith. Yet, somehow, he's getting a title shot. And what makes it even more crazier is that Rountree was recently suspended for a banned substance, which he claimed came from a protein or something similar, just some type of supplement overall. Still, it's quite surprising if you ask me. And I've seen people saying that the UFC is trying to protect Alex Pereira by giving him an easier stylistic matchup, which is why they're not putting him with Magomed Ankalaev. While that might sound a bit wild, I can kind of see it as well. But hear me out. I think the reason why they gave Rountree the title shot is that when you look at the top 10, everybody's kind of busy. I mean, after all, Jamal Hill just lost to Alex Pereira, and that was decisive, so you can't really run that back. Yuri Prohaska lost to Periera twice, and the UFC just doesn't like Ankalaev. I mean, they showed us that time after time. And when they look around the top 10, they probably didn't want to do a rematch with Jan Blachowicz, and Rakic was already booked to fight Ankalaev, so they went with Rountree because it's the most attractive and available matchup right now. Personally, I honestly thought it was more about saving the card for UFC 307 because originally Pena versus Pennington was set as the main event, so they decided to squeeze this fight in there and give a good main event that's going to attract fans. Rountree is a good name for Alex, but let's be real, this fight doesn't do much for Alex's legacy. Khalil Rountree isn't that great, and you can see that from his recent wins, which were against pretty mediocre competition. It seems like the UFC is just feeding him to Alex for now, and I expect Alex to win this one pretty easy. And I also believe the UFC is just waiting to see how the heavyweight division shakes out because I think they're aiming to set up a fight between Alex against either Tom Aspinall or John Jones. And I also want to clarify that I don't think Alex is avoiding anyone. He seems to be the type of fighter who comes in and asks for a fight and takes whoever the UFC puts in front of him. He's a company man, and I can't fault him for that. That being said, I do believe that the UFC is protecting him a bit. Going back to Khalil Rountree, he's a good fighter, but honestly, I don't think this fight is going to be close. It's a terrible stylistic matchup for Khalil. And it's not just that he doesn't have a solid win, as I mentioned earlier, and we're about to break it down. This feels like a free win for Alex. Sure, Khalil might pull off an upset, but I doubt it. Alex is on a different level when it comes to the striking, and I think he's going to demonstrate that in this fight. Now, don't get me wrong, Khalil Rountree isn't bad on the feet at all, and he definitely has ways to win. He's a southpaw, he's aggressive, and he has good leg kicks. Plus, he's very explosive, especially with those freaking flying hooks. He's pretty fast overall, but Alex Pereira has a reach advantage with 79 inches compared to Rountree, who's 76 inches, and trust me, that makes a huge difference in this fight like this. Even with all of Khalil's strength, I still believe Alex is the better striker overall. He's just in another level. Pereira's kickboxing's credentials are elite. He uses his knees, his kicks, and his striking combinations are world class. He can mix it up in the striking and target different areas of the body in a way that most fighters cannot in this division. While Khalil has a strong Muay Thai base with powerful leg kicks and effective elbows and knees, he doesn't have the same level of experience or success in kickboxing or Muay Thai as Pereira. Pereira also has a wide arsenal of strikes. I mean, for starters, he has that left hook that's insanely powerful, the straight to the body, the non-telegraph leg kicks, the body kicks. His ability to mix up his attacks makes him very unpredictable and tough to defend against. And as for Khalil's striking, it's more limited, focusing more primarily on power punches and leg kicks, and while it's effective, he doesn't have the same variety or unpredictability as Alex Pereira does. When it comes to defense, Periera is solid. He has a good, decent head movement and footwork that allows him to avoid damage while setting up his own attacks. He's excellent at maintaining distance and controlling the range. Khalil's defense has improved, but he's still vulnerable than Periera is when it comes to absorbing strikes. His aggressive strikes can sometimes leave him open to be countered. And look, man, overall, while Khalil Rountree is a dangerous striker, Alex Pereira is pretty much the better striker in almost every aspect, whether it's technical, precision, power, and experience. And another point I wanted to bring up is that Khalil hasn't proven to me that he's a real elite fighter. I mean, his wins really aren't impressive. I mean, yeah, he beat Anthony Smith, who's basically the gatekeeper of the 205 division, and it's pretty clear that Smith is past his prime. He was always just decent at best. Khalil beat him on short notice, and honestly, everyone seemed to do this these days unless you're Vitor Petrino, who went for a takedown and got caught in the guillotine. So yeah, I'm not overly impressed. And if you look back after that, he beat Chris Daukaus. This guy's basically a journeyman at this point. He's on a 5-fight losing streak. He used to fight in the heavyweight division where he lost to guys like Derek Lewis, Blades, Jorginho. So yeah, man, Chris Daukaus is pretty much a jobber. And before that, he arguably lost to Dustin Jacoby, who was also just 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Rountree was getting outpaced by Jacoby, but somehow the judges messed up that night and handed Rountree the win. And before that, he beat Carlos Robertson. The dude has a record of 9-7. The dude currently is in a 5-fight losing streak, and he's not even in the UFC anymore. The point I'm trying to make is that Khalil is a decent ranked fighter at best. The dude has been folded by freaking Johnny Walker and Kutulaba, man. Come on. The only good fighter that Khalil has fought recently was freaking Anthony Smith. Everybody else was pretty much a jobber, so it's hard to say how good Rountree really is, man, because some of those guys were not good, man, at all, and he was struggling with some of them, like Dustin Jacoby. Khalil really struggled in that fight, and I suggest you go back and watch it. I think the best thing that Rountree can do in this fight is impose his will and not allow Periera to get comfortable. He could try to overwhelm Periera with his aggressive style. I don't think it's a good idea since Alex has that left hand. It's pretty much broken when it lands, but I do believe that's the best chance he's got of winning this fight. Besides that, he's probably gonna get schooled. I think the fight goes as long as 2 rounds. Because if Khalil Rountree tries to outpoint Alex Pereira in the striking, he's going to struggle because they're on 2 different levels. Alex has never been outstruck in the UFC so far, which just shows how elite his striking really is. I don't see Rountree being that guy to change that. If Rountree tries to beat Periera at his own game, it's likely gonna end in a knockout loss for him. Most likely, I think I could see a first round finish, but like I said earlier, this fight means nothing for Alex's legacy. It's just a filler matchups, just like how Alex Volkanovski fought TKZ. That was a filler matchup. But anyways, guys, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, guys, I'll see you guys on my next one.